utopia.
What's going on, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome back to The Fringe. As December starts in full swing, that's usually the marks of multiple things that are usually traditional to Canadians. That means Hanukkah is upcoming, as well as Christmas and the end of a calendar year as we mark our way into 2025, which, by the way, is the year we're going to be getting rid of Justin Trudeau. So isn't that great? Isn't that a good way to kick off this video? At least some happiness coming out of things. But unfortunately in this country, while we look at what happens in our major cities right now when it comes to Hamas holes, filling the streets, shutting down traffic, stopping people from moving, police giving them coffee, by the way, all while they torch businesses and cause riots and looting, they're allowed to celebrate their beliefs. It's unfortunate that I have to report today, especially in Alberta, that it looks like celebrating our beliefs is once again offensive, it's not allowed, and has been canceled. And that means Christmas is being canceled by schools. I've seen this happen before. It's starting to happen more and more now. I feel this is a good time to talk about it. Let's take a look at this school in Whitecourt, Alberta, which is just outside of Edmonton. Whitecourt Elementary School cancels Christmas concert for not being inclusive enough. Here we go with the whole get woke, go woke, go broke. An Albertan elementary school has canceled its winter concert. They won't even call it Christmas. They've canceled their winter concert before Christmas break after deeming it wouldn't be inclusive enough. True North's Rachel Parker revealed that students and parents were upset about the school's decision to cancel the concert because not all students celebrate Christ's birth. The thing about Christmas is that it's a widely accepted holiday in Canada. If you don't want your children to participate in said activities, pull them out of school. That used to, we had kids when I was growing up in the 80s. There were kids whose families were of different faiths, different beliefs. They found Christmas to be offensive. Those students would just leave and go to another room. Teachers would put on a movie for them or something like that while we were doing the usual stuff. The Whitecourt School's principal released a statement on the decision, which she said follows discussions with the Pat Hardy School Advisory Council and school staff. Not all students celebrate Christmas, and their families may or may not have chosen to have them participate in the Christmas concert. Other families celebrate Christmas as a religious holiday, but do not want children engaging in the non-religious parts, such as Santa Claus, Christmas trees, etc., she says. Despite arguing that Christmas is non-inclusive time, the entire school has Christmas break and no school between December 23rd and January 7th. So again, teachers are free to, insult everybody by saying, well, during this time of celebration, we're going to take, a couple weeks off of school. Your kids are going to be home and you're going to have to figure out daycare or be at home with a bunch of screaming children. And we're allowed to celebrate those things. But when it comes to detailing why it's canceled, here's my issue with the whole thing. Here's my problem with this is that we live in a country right now where we're told we have to accept how people identify. We're told how people have to accept somebody's preferences when it comes to their sexuality, when it comes to what they need in order to work in jobs. We've heard about people who want safe spaces in jobs or certain caveats, we'll say, when it comes to their employment. But when it comes to celebrating Christmas, anything that's fundamentally a Canadian tradition, well, that's wrong. We're supposed to be tolerable of other people from other countries, their needs, their wants. But Canadians, they get the shaft. The principal added that while some students celebrate Christmas traditions like Santa, trees, and gifts, they do not participate in the religious aspect of the holiday. Preparing for a concert involves months of preparations and daily practice in the final weeks prior to the event. As a result, students who are not participating are excluded from multiple music lessons and classroom practices for an extended period of time, wrote the principal. We work hard to find ways to ensure our events are as inclusive to as many students and families as possible. There's your first problem. You're bending over to try and please a small percentage of people, and when you try to do that, ladies and gentlemen, you can't win. It should just be a simple, this is what we're doing, deal with it. I know many people are going to say, well, that's what they're doing here by canceling it. It's not the same thing. You're telling people they're somehow dirty or unacceptable, if you will, for practicing said holidays. The principal explained that the music teacher is currently covering a grade 4 classroom and cannot facilitate this year's concert. She said that a spring concert would be more inclusive. What does the spring have to do with Christmas. Additionally, the principal argued that the holidays impact family routines and that springtime will be less busy. Therefore, it will be easier for students to manage their time. For some families, the additional financial stress, increased alcohol consumption, like that has anything to do with it, family conflict, and other stressors can result in an increase in stress reactions in students in the month of December, said the principal. These reactions can be based on past or current experiences during this time of year. Moving the concert to the spring will reduce additional stress for these students during a potentially difficult time. I don't know about you guys, but most people seem to be in a good mood when you're walking around at this time of year. Companies are doing Christmas parties. People are taking time off of work. I mean, am I missing something here, or is this just needless backpedaling to try and cover their ass? The principal insisted that the decision was not made lightly, yeah, right, and that it was made in the best interest of all students. Obviously not. Various Canadians noted their outrage in the replies to the ex-post. No, if the people don't celebrate Christmas, cannot appreciate the concert, then just let them not attend. Why are we erasing our customs and traditions because some people might not feel included? We are including them. It's them who don't want to be any part of it, said one user, and that nails it on the head. If you don't like it, don't do it. That's it. We don't have to adjust our customs to fit your needs. Ah, yes, because the true spirit of inclusion is making sure no one gets to enjoy anything. Forget celebrating diversity or teaching kids to appreciate different traditions. It's better to just cancel everything and call it equality, said another. Here you see Canada Proud tweeting out the news article from True North, and of course this comment below with the principal's office. I said the SH word. I said the F word. The other person, I said Christmas. This is what it's turned into. Again, I don't know what's happened over the last 30-some years, but when I went to school as a kid, Christmas was accepted. We were allowed to hang decorations. We were allowed to do crafts and talk about Santa Claus and all these different things. It was an exciting time of year. Now it's almost treated as blasphemous. You're not allowed to enjoy your holidays. In fact, I've seen my own children's concerts included themes such as Kwanzaa, which is absolutely preposterous. It's not an actual holiday. The Canadian Human Rights Commission pushed a paper in November 2023 that described Christmas and Easter as a form of discrimination and religious intolerance. A month later, the University of Alberta removed Christmas trees after a student was denied the request to display a menorah in a study space. Pat Hardy's principal said that if anybody had questions or concern, they could call her or stop by her office at the school. Some users took the challenge and are waiting for a callback, it says. Now, I will never, ever endorse on this channel that people should harass or step into a situation like that to try and make somebody's life more difficult. While I don't agree with what they're doing, I'm simply stating that this is where Canadians, again, as we go to the polls this year, things like this should be on the docket, so to speak, when we're talking to our representatives, when we're explaining to them that these are long-term Canadian traditions. I've always said, if you're coming to the country, if you're new to the country, if you have certain values, you're allowed to have those. But coming to our country from somewhere that you're claiming is worse than our country and trying to mold our country in the image of where you came from, isn't it a little hypocritical when you're claiming asylum, when you're claiming that you left somewhere that was worse for somewhere that was better? I don't know. I don't understand. But what's funny about this is the way that the school puts their messaging forward, that it's offensive, that we have to be tolerable of everybody. I want to share this tweet from the pleb, because this is where it shows the true hypocrisy of what is going on across our country when it comes to our kids' schools. The Toronto School Board is teaching fifth graders to hate Israel. They are also teaching their students that Hamas holes and Hamas is a resistance group. These woke activist teachers are a cancer. Here this letter goes on to state, in highlight, criticism of the state of Israel and its occupying of power in Palestine. Hamas, an acronym or is an official name of the Islamic resistance movement, is what they're pushing on to kids. Israeli occupation force such as the IOF instead of the IDF is used by those who acknowledge Israel as an occupying power in relation to Palestine. I mean, it's disgusting that this is how our schools are trying to gaslight Canadians to say Christmas is offensive, Hanukkah is offensive, whatever you practice is offensive because it's not inclusive to the people who packed their bags and came here and decided they wanted a better life. We have to virtue signal, we have to try and go woke, so to speak, to suit absolutely everybody's needs to make sure that everything is catered towards them. And I can tell you right now that what they're going to put on in the spring is not a Christmas concert. It will have nothing to do with Christmas. In fact, I've seen schools in our local area do this, including my own children's school at one point, and I can tell you right now that those celebrations turn into recognition of land. It can turn into white guilt, and it turns into ceremonies that involve anything but Canadian values. It's all there to essentially shame parents into the country we're raising our children in. I say enough is enough. I'm all for recognition of things. I'm all for knowing the history of Canada. I'm all for allowing people to move here and have a better life. But when it comes to our traditions, if you don't like them, leave us alone. That's the way I see it. Let me know what you guys think down below in the comments. If it's your first time here, I hope this video has earned your subscription. Make sure as you're hitting that subscribe button, you also click your bell for notifications. Join me live here on the channel each and every Friday night for Friday Night Fringe, our live streaming show, where we go over everything that's happened this week in politics, as well as everything coming up in the weeks ahead. I know I look forward to chatting with you guys each and every Friday night here on the channel, as well as my wife, Mrs. Fringe, who joins us in those streams. And it all starts at 6 p.m. Pacific, 8 p.m. Central here on the channel. With that being said, ladies and gentlemen, I hope you guys enjoyed this video and have a great rest of your day. I'll catch you on the next one.